What's interesting about why SBA is really a great option for franchise startups is because the SBA has a franchise directory that there has to be about like 7,000 plus franchisors on it that are approved for SBA lending, right? Like if Lydia starts Lydia's dog training business, and that's it. It's just an independent business and it has no history. It's going to be much harder for Lydia to get a startup SBA loan than it would be if Lydia were to invest in a dog training franchise. And because that dog training franchise has a proven system. And
Hmm.
so if you're a startup franchise business, you have the opportunity to leverage SBA funding compared to if you were a startup independent business. Like, much easier time getting SBA funding as a startup franchise versus a startup independent business. And that's important because then once you're in business, right, you're 9 to 12 to 15 to 18 months in business as a franchise, right? And you started it just with, cash, whatever, HELOC. And then on month 18, you're like, you know what? Now I want to get SBA. Even if you're a franchise in that context, chances are you're still ramping up. And even if you're at break even or small profit, at that point in time, the SBA considers you an existing business and they're going to want to see a couple years of historical cash flow sufficient enough to service the debt. And so there is a use it or lose it dynamic with taking advantage of the SBA as a startup franchise, which is something that's a thing versus it's much more difficult as a startup independent business, and and if you don't take advantage of it startup, then you're most likely going to have to wait 2 or 3 years to get SBA if you don't take advantage of it at startup. So I'm a big SBA guy because I just, like it's third party money that's available to you as a startup franchise. And like taking advantage of the whole use it or lose it dynamic.